Hi guys, welcome to this session in Power BI. In this module, I want to show you a couple of DAX functions that you might find really useful. So first of all, I'm going to create a blank report. My data is in Excel, so I'm going to click on the Excel icon, or I could click on this one, doesn't matter which one you do. I'm going to load up some data from an Excel file, which is called raw data. That one. And open that. So this is training data. What I want to do is to find out the first date of training and the last date of training and the difference between the two. Now when this loads up, I'll tick that one. That's the actual table I want. And I am going to do a bit of transformation. If I click on transform, that will allow me to manipulate some of this data. So the table isn't called anything. So first thing I'm going to do is just call that training. And then what I want to do is I want to split this column down into location, into the city, and then the county. So I'll just click on that. I'm going to go for split by delimiter, and I'm going to pick this space and the first left space it comes across. That should work for this one. I'll click OK to that. See what that does. That's moved everything across. That's great. Now this revenue, I want this to be formatted into currency, so I'll fix that decimal and that'll come up as pounds in Power BI. So let's have a look at that. That looks okay. So I'm just going to close and apply, and then that should come into Power BI ready for me to do my functions on. So the data's come through, called training. There, I've opened it up. You can see the information is sitting there. So what I want to do is quickly have a look at it. So go to this view here. So that revenue's come through. But if you click on any of these fields, if I click on revenue, you get some formatting options there. It is picking that up as pounds. But if I go into this and click on that option, just tidies it up a little bit, and then everything else is okay there. The date time column, if I don't want the date time to be like that, I could have it maybe this one, and that's changed it. That's okay. So you can change things once you get into Power BI. But what I want to do is some measures to work out when the first date in this list of training was and when the last date of this training was. I'm going to do measures. So if I go back to home, I could insert the column here, but I don't really want to. But let's have a look at creating a new measure. So new measure. So the first one is going to be called last. So last, then equals. And there is a function called last. So if I type last date, that's what I want. And then it should give me the last date in that date of training column. But I need to refer to the table training. So I type training. And then date of training is what I want. And that's all I want, the last date, comma. If I tick that, that will be the measure. And it should just fit over there. And then I now want another one, new measure, which is going to be the first date. So that's last and first. So first equals, and then it's going to be called first. The function, the DAX function is called first date. Again, I need to refer to the table training, and it's still the same field. So the first date, close a bracket on that, press enter. So I've now got two measures, first and last. So what I want to do now is I want to do a function that's going to tell me how many days it is since these companies last did training, and I'm going to use the date diff function. and I want it as a column. So I'm going to go new column, and I'll call this since equals, and then it's date diff, that's the function, and then I need to refer to the table called training, and then date of training, comma, and then I'm going to use the today function, today, which is the same as Excel. So what's the difference between the date of training and today, comma, in days? Close the bracket on that one, press enter, see what comes up. So it's giving you the sort of day difference between the today and the last date of training. So you can see them down there. You can change that to month or whatever you want to do. Now, if I go to the visualizations area, what I can do is click on the company, give me a list of companies, just make that a little bit bigger. There's all the companies, and then I can go and click on the last, that'll put the date in. Now if I go up to, I click on that measure, actually format that date, I don't want it like that, I want it like that. So let's change that format. Now I want to add the first column as well, so if I take that on, the first date, take that on, and obviously they're in the wrong order, it's picking up the same format, but I can move those around by just dragging that down like that so it's in the right order. So now I've got the first training date, so that was 2021 for It's Easy, and then 2025 the last training date. But what if I want to work out in this what the actual difference is between those two dates, between the first and the last? I've got those two measures, can I do that? Let's see what happens here. So if I go new measure, so it's going to be, I'll call it diff, I haven't got that one, I'll just call it diff equals, so it's still training, so I want the last minus training first, and if I press enter on that, see what happens when I tick that on. So diff, tick it on, comes in as a date, so that's coming as a date. So what I need to do is to basically convert this. So if I take this off, take the tick off diff, and then do a new function, a new measure. So new measure, this I'll call difference equals, I'm going to use the convert function, convert, that's the one I want. Now the expression is the measures which I've called diff. So if I type training for the table, and there's diff, comma, and I want it to be a number, so I'm going integer, close the bracket on that, press enter. So hopefully this works. Now if I tick difference, it's coming in with the difference as a number, and you can then, because this is a calculation, I can just go divide by 12 for the months, because that's the days, and then it will give me the months. And if you do divide by 365, it's not an accurate way of doing it, there are other functions, but just to give you an idea that you can do this, then it's dropping that down to 4 years. So you can see there the first training was on the 1st of February 21, the last was the 31st of the March 25, 4 years roughly. Could use the date function and things like that on there. I'll just take that off and put it back to divide by 12. So that's just a few little examples of DAX functions, how you can do them, where they're at, and how you can join them together or daisy chain them together once you've created some measures. So hopefully this little video is of use. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch you on the next one.